Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. And today's Doctor Who review is none other than Wirrin Dawn. So what is Wirrin Dawn about? Well, essentially, the Doctor and Lucie Miller land on a space station after Lucie gets really annoyed with the Doctor because she made a specific rule with him that any time they landed on a derelict space station, they would get back inside the TARDIS and just go. But of course, the Doctor being the Doctor, he doesn't listen and manages to make them walk around for hours until suddenly they're shot at. Titles. Then, after we come back from the titles, we soon learn that the crew is under attack from the Wirrin. Now, what are the Wirrin? Well, essentially, they're like giant bug-like creatures that look like a cross between a caterpillar and a giant centipede. Now, this is not the first time we've encountered the Wirrin, as I previously mentioned in another review. The time that we met them before was with the Fourth Doctor on the Ark in space. And since then, the Wirrin have gone off and pretty much gone out into the galaxy and have been spreading from form to form. However, in this, we have this constant foreboding sense that something is up, because we keep getting this narration in this audio saying, it always happens at dawn. We never knew why it happened at dawn, but it does. Later on, after the Doctor and Lucie being blown out of the airlock, we find them in a bit of jeopardy as they look up into space and realise the TARDIS is going off to the local planet. We then later learn that what happens at dawn all has something to do with one of the ship members' past. It turns out his grandfather, who they keep giving this nickname, used to be part of a group of outcasts, and this group of outcasts used to sacrifice themselves to the Wirrin, all to pretty much keep the peace. Now, him, as the grandson, thought that this was grotesque and tried to separate himself from it, but the fact that they keep calling him an Indig means that essentially he keeps finding himself in this constant stereotype. Every time that someone calls him this, he's reminded of the people that he despises the most. However, when he explains it to the Doctor becomes very sympathetic to him, but soon points out to him that his grandfather wasn't necessarily wrong. The fact that they used to make the human sacrifices wasn't necessarily out of trying to just chuck people into the fire, but instead it turned out it was all done for a greater purpose. Now, previously in this episode, we find out that the captain of the ship was infected by one of the Wirrin, and so in turn she has slowly started to turn into a Wirrin. As the process is irreversible and seems to be some sort of metamorphosis, a little bit like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, essentially the Wirrin keep trying to push forward with their evolution, and they use the captain because their last queen is dying. Now, of course, as the Doctor points out in the end of this episode, it's not necessarily that he agrees with the process, but he does agree that they need to stop the war. The Wirrin can't be fighting with the human race all the time, and that is where the coexistence between them and their species has to happen eventually. Lucie manages to save the Queen after the fact that essentially one of the ship crew, who's very arrogant and kept calling the other crew member Indig, essentially ends up pretty much blatantly trying to shoot the Queen. However, luckily for Lucie, the Queen seems to, I'm guessing, have eaten him, or he was eaten by one of the other Wirrin by the looks of it. But by the end of the episode, we come to this resolution where the war is finally over, the ship has been destroyed, and the Wirrin come to a coexistence, at least until they can flee away from whoever out there in space is still fighting the war. Our young promiscuous soldier/space recruit pretty much agrees to coexist with them and goes off in his own separate manner, leaving the Doctor and Lucie to their own devices. Lucie asks the Doctor whether he thinks that the Wirrin will go on living, and the Doctor says he has hope. Where there is life, there is hope. So, Wirrin Dawn. What did I think of this? Honestly, the thing I love the most about this, as an audio, as like a kind of two-part audio, is Not only the fact that they call the Doctor the Wise One, I think is so brilliant, but I love that it kind of gives you that Alien-esque, like Predator-esque, just like Space Odyssey vibe. The way that the music is intoned in this audio is absolutely gobsmackingly beautiful. This kind of unnerving, unsettling kind of scene that plays out as they're going throughout space. And the way that the Doctor and Lucy just kind of jetpack off, I think was absolutely gorgeous. And for that reason, I give Wirrin Dawn a solid 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Doctor Who review. Until then, stay beautiful and have an incredible night, you beautiful people.